30 seconds on the clock.
In this episode, we saw the long-awaited return of BattleBots, 6 months after its scheduled pre-pandemic film date.
The crew's all here. Chris, Kenny, Farouk, and Jenny all returned along with a new face as Peter Abramson became our on-screen bot whisperer. Sawblaze and Whiplash realized they might be long-lost cousins. Fusion's debut got heated, and Axe Backwards turned into a giant fireball.
We even got hair care advice from Will in the opera boxes. Bloodsport was out for blood in his first match. Shredderator got beaten by a paperclip. We witnessed the glorious rise of Rusty. A snake and a shark walk into a bar. And Endgame upsets every Tombstone fan on the internet.
30 seconds on the clock. Ghost Raptor returns, but his weapon doesn't. Tracer learns the valuable lesson of invertibility, and Kraken gets KO'd by the judges.
Mammoth tries out for the U.S. Olympic gymnastics team. Claw Viper attempts to set a land speed record, and Tyler takes his first win just before his very reasonable bedtime.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. What more do you want?
No title fight?
No, that's it. Let's get a roll on.
Okay then. 30 seconds on the clock! This week we saw Gigabyte's NSFW fight where they wound up topless again. Sub-Zero lost to Jackpot, who spun to win and got lucky. Uppercut makes like NASA and launches Gemini into orbit twice. And Beta avoids using its weapon entirely and wedges its way to a win.
In the pit segment, Will riles up the villagers with pitchforks. Tantrum got tuckered out from swinging his fist around. Big Dill and Adam94 got stuck in a loving embrace. And our very own HyperShock starts off the season strong, doing HyperShock things.
It's par for the course. 30 seconds on the clock! This week we saw Slapbox get its wheels slapped off in its debut fight against King of Kinetic Energy, Tombstone. We saw Slammo finally get its first televised win in 20 years by building a robot that is, quote, not crap. And Scorpios bullies an 11-year-old. Tyler wins some, Tyler loses some.
Ribot takes the bait and gets distracted by Mad Catter's nuisance bot. Ribot loses a mini bike race to Mad Catter. And a 500-pound freaking walking robot, Chomp. Woo! Yet another contested judge's decision between Shatter and Malice. And Bloodsport outlasts Endgame's Magic Smoke Reserves.
30 seconds on the clock.
Claw Viper whiffs his box rush and pays the price. Ghost Raptor's weapon hits the eject button. Grabot makes like Tony Hawk and grabs some sick airtime.
Huge parks his bike at a conveniently placed arena-side bike rack for his fight against Hydra. Fusion shows the bulletproof and BattleBot-proof materials aren't quite the same thing. And Lockjaw teaches us how to make relish. And Kraken sacrifices its narwhal to get its first main event win. 30 seconds on the clock!
Rotator and Valkyrie put on a fireworks display. Gigabyte spins Extinguisher's axe head round baby right round. Slapbox suplexes a giant shark. Malice does the thing and gets stuck on its back.
Tantrum punches its way to glory. Pain Train versus Smee happened. And the judges need a change of underwear after Uppercut blows up Sawblaze right in their face. 30 seconds on the clock.
Captain Shredder finally made good on his spin to win and then kept on spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. P1 loses pole position to Copperhead. Beta's hammer swing was worth the wait, but Rusty's butt disagrees.
HyperShock finally sucks less!
Finally!
Thank goodness. Sub-Zero used a spork to play with its food. Tracer takes Bale Spear to the glue factory. Goodness. And Whiplash puts on an absolute driving clinic. 30 seconds on the clock!
Huge does it like they do on the Discovery Channel in their fight against Kraken, and puppies ran amok for some reason. Ribot goes in for one more hit and almost knocks themselves out of the arena. Rotator relishes his first win of the season.
Jackpot kicks the legend out of Lockjaw. Bloodsport cleans Cronus' clock. Fusion makes their practice fight look easy. And Scorpio smashes its face into Tombstone's weapon over and over again until the King of Connecticut Energy loses a wheel. 30 seconds on the clock.
Captain Shed gets his dome smashed in. Hijinks goes full Tanya Harding and takes out Chomp's legs.
Gigabyte makes Swiss cheese out of Claw Viper. Witch Doctor's discs finally don't break.
Gruff's hybrid drive system fails him in his loss to Extinguisher. Perfect Phoenix depletes Atom 94. Copperhead calls out Black Dragon and doesn't regret it.
30 seconds on the clock.
Hydra plays that ground game really well. Rusty lasts a full 3 minutes with Sawblaze. Tantrum takes Gamma 9 down piece by piece.
Kenny needs a change of underwear after Endgame launches a piece of shrapnel at the glass. P1 looks so good that even Brandon is visibly impressed. Beta practically hammers Grabbot through the floor, and Valkyrie goes head over heels for Whiplash. 30 seconds on the clock! This week we saw Tombstone takes all of Mad Catter's 9 lives. We find out the gap between the arena and the wall is approximately 1 hijinks wide. Beta uses the ugly armor and croaks, and Slammo gets hit like a Brazilian times.
Bundy's Death Stare is no match for Gigabyte. Whiplash beats Huge fair and square without using any silly attachments. Valkyrie takes flight and sticks the landing. HyperShock lets Hydra flip them 13 times just to keep promoting their secret store.
It worked. 30 seconds on the clock!
This week we saw Bloodsport breaking his bar on the first hit but goes the full distance. Tantrum parades Fusion around like a fancy top hat. Sawblaze excising Kraken's upper jaw. And Mammoth slapping Copperhead around for a full 3 minutes.
Lockjaw goes out in a blaze of glory and a shattered head. Endgame teaches Phoenix to fly. Jackpot takes his Self-Rider off and regrets it instantly. And Farouk takes forever to announce the winner of Witch Doctor vs. Scorpios. 30 segundos en el reloj. This week we saw Sawblaze cut Witch Doctor down to a half rack. Ribot leapfrog over uppercut. Tantrums stick to Bloodsport like white on rice. And Hydra play Beyblades with Gigabyte.
Black Dragon vs. Tombstone happens and the internet explodes. Newton rolls over in his grave while Valkyrie defies physics. Shatter poked Mammoth in the eye like the Three Stooges. And Rotator loses yet another tough judge's decision.
Wah, wah.
Let's get started with one last 30-second recap.
Woohoo! 30 seconds on the clock!
This week we saw Whiplash beating Hydra at the ground game, Black Dragon winning the ground game with their hair on fire, Tantrum beating Sawblaze at his own game, which, happens to be the ground game.
They got underneath us every time.
And Shatter, despite magnets, losing the ground game.
They just got under us.
Whiplash shows Black Dragon the door, courtesy of ground game. Tantrum lets out magic ground game smoke.
We got under him a couple times.
A battle of the long skinny wedgelets and ground game comes out victorious. No, Endgame comes out victorious.